So this is the soldering station that we're using in this course. It's a PACE process control system, pretty high end. So basically, turn it on, this power's up over here. There's up to 3 channels, so I've basically got a couple of soldering irons on here that you can use. One is a kind of a fine point soldering iron. This one here is an air blower thing for blowing air, blowing hot air. And this one is a thing to pick up chips. So there's different tips on here and different irons. Now this iron here, this is like just a straight soldering iron. There's no air hose going into this one. What you'll see in this one is here, these ones, they have an air hose going into them, so they can be used to blow air or to suck air to suck solder out of joints. So what do? You take there's 3 channels. You can have these 3 soldering irons going all at the same time. So this guy here goes into channel 1. These should normally be hooked up, so you shouldn't have to do this. So there's channel 1. And then I'll take this one here. I'll hook it into channel 2. Come on. There, that's got in there. That's in there. And then channel 3. So there's our 3 channels. So you got 3 irons going. You can set the temperature of each of them individually. So if I want to set the temperature on channel 1, what you do is you click this down until you find the right channel, channel 1, and then you go set, and then you can dial in the temperature you want on that tip. So a tip like that, probably 700 is probably good, 700 Fahrenheit. And now that should be heating up, getting ready to solder. If you want to clean it off, there's like solder cleaning thingies here. And if you put some water in there, you can clean your tip in there. Okay, so that's that one. That's pretty straightforward. So now this one, as I said, this one is a hot air gun. If I push down on the switch here, it starts blowing hot air out the end. And you should feel some air come out. Right now I do not. Air's coming out of this thing here. So take your air hose, take the air hose, and plug it into there. There should be a thing that plugs in there like that. This one looks like it's been cut or broken. So here we go. I'll put that in there. And now I'm blowing hot air. Now this tip, I find that you usually want this one a little hotter. So I've got that set up at about 900 Fahrenheit. Because it's got a, basically as the air goes by, the iron here goes through the iron, it's got to heat up, so it's a little bit hotter to get it up to the melting temperature. This is a pretty small air gun. You might be able to get a small microprocessor out of something, but if it's, you might be able to do like the crystals on this board, and in fact we're going to use this to do the crystals. But for bigger stuff, it's probably a little wimpy. So that's that one. And then this one here, it's got an air gun, but it's not hooked up, so the air isn't doing anything. there is a solder sucker attachment for this device here, and it goes in here, but I'm going to encourage you not to use the solder sucker for pulling solder out of through-hole joints. There's a little filter on these things here that when you put this filter on here, if you suck solder into here, little solder particulates can build up on the inside of this filter. If you accidentally reverse that, you're now sucking that solder bits into this machine, and you're going to blow up my $10,000 machine. So let's just not use this vacuum pickup to pick up solder. This one over here you can use to pick up. This is for a pick vac. If you're using a tool, a pickup tool to pick up your surface mount devices and place them, that's what this pick vac is for. And this is for dispensing paste. So this is a blower, and this is a vacuum. Changing a tip. If you want to change a tip, so they should all have one of these little devices on it, which has a little screwdriver tip on it. You can see, so in order to change a tip, there's the screwdriver right here. You put that in there, you undo the tip, loosen the tip up, and then you can grab the tip. Put the tip up over there. This is a silicone rubber piece for holding tips. You can grab your next tip, maybe you need a little bit bigger one, slide it in, screw it on with the screwdriver. Now you have the next tip. So in the past, I think in the past maybe you've used this stuff, which is horribly messy. Basically, you cannot put out a small enough drop. So we're going to try, we've brought in some solid solder paste this year. So if you want to put some solder on the circuit board, there's going to be toothpicks in these kits. Basically just go in there and grab a little bit and then put it on the circuit board, and then you can control the dispensing of the solder paste a little bit better with a toothpick than you can with these jars. And then there's less to clean up. One of the secrets about good soldering and keeping things clean, so you don't have to clean up flux, don't put much flux down, and then you won't have to clean it. So the other thing that should be in your kit is a nice pair of fine tweezers. These are really small, and the ends should come together nice and tightly. Don't bend those. These are really good for picking up parts. So you have that's in the kit. So when we've been soldering before, you've been using this through-hole solder, which is pretty thick stuff. And for surface mount, what we're going to do is we're going to use this other stuff, which is significantly thinner. So look in the kits. There's going to be kits on the desks when you show up. Look in the kits for this thin solder. This stuff here, this thick stuff, you just touch it with the iron and you'll have a big lump of solder on these surface mount parts. This stuff feeds out a lot better.